Okay, hi everyone. Sorry for the little break, but I have some really like exciting news. I have officially graduated. I graduated last week, and it feels amazing to have like all of the high school stuff that I couldn't get like proper grades to finally work out. I'm really gonna miss most of my teachers and stuff, but I am moving on in my life and I'm gonna be doing some other stuff. Basically, in Sweden, it's not. It's called studenten, and basically, you get a bunch of plushies like hung over your neck with like a blue and yellow ribbon. You get this almost like sailor hat. I didn't get one because they're kind of expensive in this economy, but I had a really nice time with my friends. I got to graduate with one of my, one of my closest friends at the moment. He's great. Absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of him as well. And my parents got really emotional over the entire thing, but yeah. So I'm finally done with like all catching up on all my high school grades and shit. And I will be moving on with my life to study. I'm hopefully gonna get into a textile school, is what I hope. But who knows? I'm gonna be doing this VTubing thing on the side and a bunch of other projects and shit. And just see where life takes me. I hope you'll stick around for that. But yeah, as much as life is kinda shitty in a lot of ways at the moment, I'm enthusiastic about the entire thing. Because I have friends and family who believe in me, and I believe in them. Even if I don't believe in myself, at least I can believe that they believe in me. Anyway, we'll be playing this. This is one of the visual novels that my cousin recommended me, and holy shit, I couldn't, like, I can't express how much I fucking love this game, because, fuck. I pressed continue! I pressed continue instead of new file. Because I'm stupid. Would you like gameplay explanation sections to appear? Nah, I know how to operate this game. Ooh. Huh. I didn't really pay attention to that one a lot of the time. I'm not recording this very late. Or at the last minute. I'm not. I don't know what I'm talking about. No, wait, go back. Yeah, that's good. Do they have purple? Yeah, they have purple! Whoa! First name. Blake. And as per usual, Anderson. Boop. Hair, fun, choppy. Ooh. That one's pretty close. I'm not yawning. I'm not! That was pretty cute. Choppy, curled, flowy. I mean, yeah. That one could be a pretty close option. Damn. Okay. Let's do the low ponytail. It kinda looks like a jellyfish haircut if you, like, look at it from afar. Red. Orange, red. There we go. Change page. Birthmarks. Huh. Where the fuck is that one? Oh. Scar. Huh. Rosy cheeks. Freckles. Nah. Hand size. I'm staring at my own hands now. Medium, I guess. Glasses. And sometimes I do need glasses. Nah. Let's see. Skirts, dresses, shirts, pants. I don't wear them any. Like, I don't wear a lot of pants right now because I've gained weight. I've gained weight, and my pants don't fit me. Nah. Necklaces. I do love necklaces. Bracelets. Birthmark. Ooh. Arm. Leg. Yeah, that's... Yeah. Scars. Not that I can think of. Freckles. Oh, I almost forgot to put cheek. Voice name. Default. I just want to see if they have Blake on this list. Hold on. Chloe. Brittany, Brooklyn. Damn. Oh, Basil, Basil. Ah, it doesn't seem like it. Nope. Damn. I was thinking something, but I lost my train of thought. Okay, we're good. Next page. Just double checking. Done. Bingo! Summer and Sunset Bird was... Oh, fuck. I have a lot of stuff on my desk at the moment. Because guess what? I have a burner and I decided to start burning CDs. Because guess what? I got a CD player. I'm very excited for that. So I ordered some more CDs on Amazon. That will be coming on Wednesday. Woohoo! So, okay. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. Oh shit, I accidentally pressed skip. Hello! Fuck. No. Fucking ass, god damn it. Log. Okay. That's what I get for not checking where my mouse was. It was a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of school-less vacation with it. Oh, fuck. I can read. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was. Or most often, just said hello. You didn't really get why they said hi, they saw you every day, but you ended up saying hi to a lot of different people, since most of the tourists that came and went summers were the same one. I'm not yawning. I'm not. Oh shit. Oh yeah, I got a. So basically, with my graduation, I got graduation presents, right? I got a gift card to one of my favorite, like, sewing stores with, like, a bunch of sewing supplies, especially with lace. So I'm gonna go check that out. It was a lot of money. I got a second glass case for my trinkets and, like, my standees and figurines and stuff. And I also got a mini fridge that hopefully, if I get into the school I want, I will have in my dorm, because I ain't risking someone stealing my monster. Because I've had friends who have lived in dorms before, and they said, like, oh yeah, there was a rampant problem at some point that someone was stealing monster from other, like, people, and we have no idea who it was. And I'm like, I ain't risking shit. In this economy? Hell nah. So yeah, now I also get to store my snacks. Well, I can fit like 3 monsters, like 4 chocolate bars and a Twix. So my dad can't get to it most of the time. Let's go! You were too anxious to say hi back to monster residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. They still smiled at you anyway, and that made you feel a little more comfortable. But today, there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person, or a statue that had magically sprung from the ground overnight. Whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset's Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really, really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your moms had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You hadn't actually been listening at the time. You think it could be okay to rather talk with new people. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types can help you even if you don't know them. You remember it being okay to run away. Let's go with this one. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still, you felt a bit scared knowing that he was walking the way to your front door. But you were pretty interested. You wanted to know what was going on, whether he was nice or not. You didn't want to be bothered. You still felt a bit scared knowing he was blocking the door. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met, and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! Excuse me. His voice startled you and made you jump, but still you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gate post, and its black feathers ruffled against a gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started making his way toward you. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly, you offered the stranger a smile. The man gives you a grin of his own back. Do you live around here? What's your name? You looked at the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. Bro, I know I am. Wait, what was that? Fuck. I keep pressing when I shouldn't! No! Fuck, I was supposed to press log, not load. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. Alright, I fucking forgot about this part. I haven't played this game properly in a while. Like, actually. I don't know why my voice is so raspy. It's probably because I haven't been talking a lot for, like, the past 2 days. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him.
Well...
Could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove, who's about your age. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. You chewed on the inside of your... You thought it was pretty... Listen, I would think that would be awesome to have as a name. Anyone who thinks otherwise, you can shut your fucking mouth. You've never met anyone with that name. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Blake Anderson, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You kind of felt sorry for Cove. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, despite being fucking autistic as shit. What do you say? Want to make a deal? Take the bill. Listen, as a child, I would've. Despite anything, I would've taken the fucking dollar bill. $20? I'll take $20. You carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched hand, grinning at the thoughts of what you could do with that much cash. Newest movie at the cinema. It was a cute stuffed animal. A custom library card. Ooh. Either sweets or stuffed animal. Stuffed animal. It was gonna be able to come home with you. And that was just a start, you thought. The sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. That's great. Great, that's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but... well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. And fucking green hair, I'm sorry. Sure thing. This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. Because guess what? I'm kind. The man smiled and reached out to pat you on the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your moms are already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now, I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back, and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Blake. So much. He jogged off the street without another word. You decided to check the hills behind your house. Step 1, first sight. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill, you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. You've always loved the ocean. It was so much fun. Sometimes Lissy would join you, and the two of you splashing around in the waves. Those were the best days. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try and relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. There was a boy sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you found a deer in the wild. Though the deer didn't have green hair. Sad frowns. Let's go with sad frowns. I don't want to comment on the hair. But this new boy did. You wonder what could have upset him. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. You know what? I haven't actually set a fucking timer. I usually set a timer so I know exactly how long I've been sitting here. Did I do it this time? No, I didn't. Anyway, he'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. It obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight. Twilight sparkle! Who said that? I didn't say nothing. Though, when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier said stuck out to you. Cove? Eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle beneath your fingertips. I'm all-knowing! That's a lie. Tell the truth. Okay. Your dad told me who you were.
Oh.
He's so cute! Like, listen, this... Honestly, as a child, I would have had a crush on him. I would have. Because guess what? I didn't have high standards at first. The kid crying at the back of my house? Like, in my backyard? Just saying. Not at the back of my house. What the fuck am I saying? So, is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. You can't own a hill! Why not? How could you? You just do. I had a hill back home. Well, this isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that had covered the hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made it seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove. Sorry, I can't help but smile. I shouldn't smile when he's crying! It's just that he's so cute. I haven't played this game in a minute. Oh my god, I fucking missed it. Quiet hiccup escaped Cove. Oh, fuck. As soon as you asked a question. Almost like they'd never stop, his tears started up. Almost like they'd never stopped. His tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents. They didn't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he could put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. I'm sorry. He slipped his hand underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers to his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would be like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Blake?
Cove?
Oh my god. I wish it was fully voice acted. I kinda do. Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here.
I want to go home.
I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. You can handle it. You have to go. You have to go. Even if this isn't fair, he's your dad. You stood up, dusting your pants off. If he says you gotta go home, you gotta. Sorry. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked towards the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not bandaged arm.
Sorry.
I still don't want to go. You waited with him silently with him. Yeah, I get it. You do. Before you could answer, you heard Cove's dad, even closer than before. There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you, and they rushed over. Listen, okay, hear me the fuck out. Hear me the fuck out. Ah! I'm so gay. Happy Pride Month. By the way, I forgot to say that. Happy Pride Month! Let's go! Woo! Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. Blake, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove, and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Why is everybody acting like it's such a big thing? We're okay, don't worry. Cove didn't want to go home just yet. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Thank God you were both fine. Were you two having fun out here? You looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. Okay, listen, the first time I played this game, I fucking pressed this option because I was like, that sounds like something little me would say. I'm not even gonna fucking lie to you. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. You nodded, smiling slightly. Oh, that's wonderful. Imagine if he fucking heard that, though. He'd be like, I'm sorry. No. Hey. It doesn't matter when I record, I just start yawning a bunch. It's because I haven't been sleeping properly for like 3 weeks. Due to projects and schoolwork and blah 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 blah. Finally, letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Blake knows the whole area so well. I'm not burping. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
He's so cute! I can't even. He's so adorable. I love him. I love him so much. Config, text, music. Yeah, I've already fucking... Ooh. Text Atlantic. Let's see if that'll... Oh, Jesus. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading towards the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sounds like words. You nodded, ducking your head down. Both of your moms laughed, the sound overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choose your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove. This first step, it can change later steps. Crush. Direct, relaxed, nervous. Nervous, I'm always nervous! You won't be able to change it again until step 2. Yeah. Let's go. The next morning, you finish your breakfast so fast you got a tummy ache. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you'd stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Excited to see your new friend, Blake? I'm excited. If you were going to get... if you were going to get married, it made sense to be around each other.
How sweet.
Isn't that just the sweetest thing? I bet the two of them are going to be great playmates.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Your bowl is entirely empty, so you nodded. Good job. He should be here soon. Cleanup began, and then on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, my fucking foot is itching. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Blake, could you get it? You practically leapt out of your chair on the way to the door. Hey, Anderson family, thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called them, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room. And when he wasn't crying, with his dad standing in front of him, and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see the interesting new boy again, you smiled at Cove. Cove returned it shyly. Twist the thread bracelet on your wrist. Twist the crystal bead bracelet on. Flower bracelet. Shell bracelet. Crystal bracelet. Do you want to see my room?
Okay.
Oh, he's so cute! I'm sorry. I can't help but squeal every single time. Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids. See you later, son. Play nice. You led into your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There was lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out of. It was a really great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were proud of it. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Thank you, me too. Oh, I'm just thinking, what would kid me say? Me too. Okay. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. Started feeling a bit nervous. Yeah, I would start feeling anxious. You wanted to say something, but didn't know what, so you let him keep looking. Then his eyes landed on a tiny box of beach things you'd collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box to the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. Yeah. You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
This is a good collection. Oh god. You get the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like, Shiloh. I don't fucking know how to say that name. I still don't. How to fuck. I'm gonna Google. Name. Pronunciation. Shiloh. Why the fuck would it... That pisses me off. Or to be like Shiloh. He actually meant it. Ah, Shiloh is coming over. Shiloh? My sister's friend. He wants to meet you. Do I have to see him? That'll be okay, I think. Here, I found this shell in a log and... You pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small one, pink and purple and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past years, you'd even learn the name of some scientific names. The collection was so huge and varied. Your voice faltered a bit, but you kept as best as you could. Yeah, your voice faltered a bit. You were really proud of your shell collection, and it made you happy that Cole was interested in it too. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves. Cove listened with what looked to be the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. For some reason, it was making your cheeks feel warm. You had never felt like this around someone before. It was kind of weird. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cole hadn't been like this. Oh fuck. Cole hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was a part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shiloh. Oh shit. Cove reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken out loud yet. He turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. I like a different one the best. I can show it to you. You can take it. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure. You like it a lot, right? Uh-huh. But I don't want to take it from you. It's okay. You got the impression he was hesitant to accept something because he hadn't known you very well. You insisted. No, it's okay. For you. You pushed the shell against Cove's chest, willing him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It was a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor, looking through your collection of beach things, when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It was obvious that Cove didn't hide his feelings well. You could... Gee, it's almost like he's fucking autistic. Who said that? You could tell that what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. I'm sorry. There's nowhere to go. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. It almost sounds like a fucking horror movie. What? Huh? Cole glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked onto the back of the house. I can go out the window. Shit, I said that a bit weirdly. I can go out the window? Oh shit. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Do you really want to break your other arm? It was the least scary person alive. Oh shit. I'll come with you. Hurry! They'll see where we're going. He glanced back at you, then nodded. The two of you made your way to the window together. It wasn't much of a distance to clamber out, but by the time you landed gently in the bushes, you looked up to see the cove was already taking off away from the house. It was fast, but you knew you could outrun him if you had to. He was not that fast. You knew you could outrun him if you had to. He was not that fast, but neither were you. At that speed, you weren't sure if you could go fast enough to reach him. He was not that fast, but neither were you. Cove, I'm coming! You ran as fast as your legs would take you, grass whipping around your ankles as you did so. Cautiously, Cove slowed to a halt and looked back at you. Where are you going? I don't know. Somewhere else. I just don't want to see. Blake! You look back and saw Shiloh huffing down the hill after you, the backpack he clutched bouncing all around along the way. What are you doing? Can I come? He must have seen you leaving out the window and followed behind.
Hi.
Hi. Are you cold?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting how cute he is. Oh, such a little baby. I'm Shiloh. Okay. Yep. Are we going back or are we gonna play outside? Shiloh's eyes moved between you and Cove. The smile remained strong on his face. It got a tiny frown from Cove in response. You were just grateful he hadn't asked why you were running away. Inside, we left a box on the floor. Yeah, I want to check. I hope Mommy didn't move them.
Okay.
With Shiloh trailing behind, you and Cove headed back towards the house. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach swings some more. I can read. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. You held out a recent find to Cove, a scallop shell that had washed up on shore. It's a pretty color, kind of like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. Okay.
Oh?
Is it your favorite? Not really. What is it? What is? Maybe green or blue? It might be yellow. I fucked up, it's yellow! Oh! Those are all cool.
I guess.
I keep forgetting how funny this is. Not sure how to deal with the sudden, more awkward silence. You look back at your shelves. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lacey was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what else to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? I don't know. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at the park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of a park, and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered, and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Blake? The park is fun. The park is pretty great.
Yeah.
It's right at the beach, so there's a lot of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know. I never really wanted to see her. I just wanted to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, 3 of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short, she could always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you, big brown eyes going wide. Blake! Silo! Hi! She dropped onto the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was the 3 of you, but now Cole was here. It was nice to have someone who stuck with you. Who's that? It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Liz's speech, Cove whispered in your ear quiet enough that the others wouldn't hear. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks or hills. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wiggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you're Blake's age.
Yeah.
Thought so. I'm the only one in this group with double digits. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Shiloh is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try and steal your youth.
Oh.
For a second, it looked like he might cry again. But something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Stop saying things like that. You're gonna upset him. You interjected quickly, hoping Cove wouldn't start crying again. He sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Blake in school. You'll see tons of kids there when summer is over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down into the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. I like summer vacation a lot too. All the built-in tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was, at Shiloh's discomfort at how weird Cove was, It's something entirely different, you didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put your feet up, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile, and that at least looked to reassure him. For the rest of summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days, when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way he became a staple of your life the way sun and lunch and the beach were. Looking back on it years later, you would realize that you had a tiny crush on him right away. That had one that had made you want to spend as much time with him as you did. Of course, that was only the start of things. Yeah! Okay, listen. I do kind of want to buy the DLC. What the fuck is a ghost? I do kind of want to buy the DLC. I'm not even gonna fucking lie to you. Maybe I should make, like, a video on, like, the DLC alone if I do get it. I don't know. I've been thinking about that for, like, a while, but I don't know if it's in my budget at the moment. I swear, do I have a fucking mosquito bite on my forehead? It feels like I do. Shit. Oh yeah. Whatever. Grown up, long day, sandcastle, fireflies, shopping. Grown up? I don't even remember what's what. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you, along with Lizzie, to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to your mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for her golf class that evening. Damn, we rich! Holy shit! Then again, my town does have a golf course, or maybe several golf courses now when I think about it. Yeah, wait. I don't know that many people that do play golf. For the most part, there are some people taking public transport with, like, their fucking golf gear and taking up, like, two seats on the bus for just the bag. And I'm sitting there and like, you motherfuckers. I never did that with my fucking archery equipment. Fuck you. I'm eating chocolate, by the way. The three of you had trouble finding something to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. To be honest, she kind of reminds me of one of my cousins when we were younger. I did mention that to my cousin who recommended me this game. And she looked at me and she was like, yeah, you kind of right. Because obviously I'm right. I'm kidding. I love you guys. But yeah, she does remind me of her. Like, even throughout, like, the progression of the game, I'm like, yeah, who the fuck is spying on my life? Okay. There's one last sip. Oh, yeah. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play.
Why? Duh.
I said why, and it'll be fun, duh. What do they do inside that we don't? Besides, use the phone a lot. Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decided to ignore Cove.
What do you think?
Blake, what do you think? Do you want to? I want to. You do? Seriously? Yeah. Hooray! Okay, let me think. What do I want to be? Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to be a professional golfer. Blake, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Why the fuck those options? Why can't we pick what we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. And we have to play sports as adults? Yep. But there's other kinds of sports too.
Right?
It isn't the same. What do you think, Blake? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? Oh my god, I kind of like those. It really doesn't. It sounds like a blast. I'm just gonna nod. Lizzie, apparently not expecting you to agree after Cove's refusal practically lit up. Really? Which one are you gonna pick, Blake? Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. You thought over the list of possibilities. Beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you'd prefer to play beach volleyball. If you couldn't spend the afternoon on the beach for real, you might as well pretend you were. You could even wear your swimsuit to make it seem more realistic, although Lizzie probably wouldn't let you run off and do that now that she had you here. Yes, that was clearly the top option. I guess I'll be a volleyball player?
Alright.
How about you, Cove? I'll be a volleyball player with Blake. Oh, he's so cool. Look at his little face. Lucy threw her hands in the air, making an annoyed sound. You can't be the same thing. That's not how it works. You didn't say that. The rules was picking from the list. You can't keep adding more. Lizzie looked at the two of you, then shook her head, resigning to losing this battle, but not the war. Fine. You're both volleyball players, but you're on the same team because there's only one. Lizzie's ponytail bobbed as she proudly stretched her arms wide. The Olympic team! What? We're Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics. Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose. That's really specific.
Rude.
That's what makes it fun. Anyway, Lizzie marched back and forth in front of the both of you, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all gold medals and people are calling me the next Mickey Wright. Who's that? Lacey stopped on the spot and turned on him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. It doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Your team placed silver. It's more real if we're not all first place. Hey, we can do better than silver. You pouted at Lizzie, unhappy with the decision. Blake's right.
Sorry.
Oh, fuck. Lots of people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd.
No way! It wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game.
Is there even golf in the Olympics? Hold on. Hold on. Then again, it's a child's game. I shouldn't take it too seriously. But now I'm fucking curious. Is golf an Olympic sport? Golf first became an Olympic sport. Golf is America. Okay, it is an Olympic sport. Never mind. Well, okay. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball.
So, what kind of house do you want to live in?
Cole hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him. Apparently because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue.
That's kind of boring. You already have that.
No, not like a normal house with the street on it. Right on the sand by the water. Just like that, all the tension was back. You hadn't even had a chance to choose where you'd want to live.
That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sand and shells.
But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, and though she stood half a head taller than him. You didn't get out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we playing pretend if we can't even imagine anything?
Jeez. Well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing.
It's not fair.
How possible? How come you're yelling about mine when your idea is more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides.
It's not impossible. It's better than yours.
Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand, this time you thought you'd prefer a mansion, being on the beach. You wanted to agree with Lizzie. Cole was right. You were tired of deciding between either of them. Yeah, that sounds about right. You didn't engage with their bickering and instead dreamt up your own dream house. You weren't going to share your idea with them either. You already knew it was a good one. You can't swim whenever you want if you live. You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach.
We can still swim anytime we want where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything.
Says you. The two of them scowled at each other.
You're being so unreasonable. You...
I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make any sense.
It does. You have to be realistic. I said that.
Maybe you're not. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you'd said so far kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a grating angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed over, hanging onto the hem of her shirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Blake, it's time to get ready to go.
You alright with that?
Sorry, but we have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home, so you won't be left in the cold. Cole was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself.
But
Bye.
bye, Blake.
Oh shit. There was still a harsh edge to the brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up, stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight.
Huh?
Okay. Worried, Mom turned to look at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our friend, weren't you? I would tell the truth. I'm not sorry.
They were fighting. Cove and Lizzie. For the whole time.
Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed, as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced with a tiny frown.
I know. I tried, but he was...
That's enough.
No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her.
Okay, Mom.
Good girl. Hey, yo. Oh, I'm just kidding. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too. But it was over. Alright, we better get a move on.
Let's go.
Let's go, kids. Noelani, where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled all of you out the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in a mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. You picked your favorite song. Eventually, Lizzie came around and started singing along with you. You both knew all the words, and your mom sang along too. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with the other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell she really liked it. So you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside and then after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of sun warm your skin. The sun finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had been going to ever since you could remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop. But you could... Oh, fuck. I feel like I'm having a stroke while reading again. Fuck. But you could... Oh my god. Pause. Rewind. Play. But you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from the silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now. But the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly, she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning in onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled the seatbelts and opened the doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips.
So?
Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in the driveway, so we should So he should be back from... Oh, fuck. He should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day is done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's gaze. She nodded once. Good. Now let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mommy put a gentle hand on Elizabeth's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You hadn't liked doing it, but had to. Being a tattletale didn't feel good, but you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. You remember the numbers for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed the buttons on the base. Suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple of times, then stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Lizzie Anderson. What a surprise! Of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Noelani, Blake, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. Spoke up to say hello to. Hi. The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No. Well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when he came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly despite that. It didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good you didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cole, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called so she could talk to you.
Are you...
Blake's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hey, it's Lizzie.
Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
Sorry. I just called to
Oh, fuck.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again.
Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove could have realized that too, because he sighed quietly. No, Cove must have. Fuck, I can read. Me and Blake should get gold too. That's right, Lizzie had kept denying you two what you deserved. Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. She probably forgot that that had even happened already.
Alright, we all win the gold.
Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought he'd refuse her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious Cole felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Blake. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled, even if he couldn't see it.
Bye, Cove.
With that said, Cole must have handed the phone to his dad and left, since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention.
Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded in her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone. Taking it off speaker, they continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that... Oh my fucking god, I can read. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cole might not get along and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that though, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. Okay, again, that one is really sweet, but my favorite is probably the Fireflies one. But honestly, the sleepover on this DLC, I'm really fucking curious about. I really am.
Alright, tonight we're going to catch fireflies.
At this blunt declaration from your sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over the summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Oh, right. Depressing news, fireflies are fucking dying out. I think it's because of the light pollution, if I remember correctly, so we might be the last generation to actually see fireflies before they're gone. Which is really depressing, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've never seen a firefly in real life. They always seemed so, like, cool in, like, media and stuff. But yeah, fireflies might actually be dying out. Yep. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh? You are you? You started eating faster. A grin curled your lips as you started to eat a bit faster, excited for what's to come. It seemed like you were too excited, however, as you started to choke and cough on your food from shoveling it down so quickly. Mommy reached over and pat you on the back, firmly helping to dislodge the noodles and enable you to breathe again. You took a big gulp of water from your glass, giving your mom a sheepish look. Oops.
That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Anderson?
Shiloh tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Shiloh to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let your moms know she would be late. You didn't hear why, probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Shiloh for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree. Well, it's already so dark out there. Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eyes she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Let them go. Nights like this don't happen every day. Your parents exchanged a look. Then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Yes! Along with Lizzie's cheers, you threw your arms up in triumph, but waited until you finished chewing to say anything because you knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full. Fine. Just make sure to stay on the hill behind our house with all the poppies, okay? Duh, Mom. That's where most of them are. The idea had only been planted in your head, but already you could picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you, like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy read sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who could finish their food first. No choking at the dinner table now. Alright, that's right. If someone died, we'd have to cancel the Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew they were both telling you kids to slow down. Shiloh did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth!
Jeez. No one's gonna die. Sheesh.
A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could no doubt scold your sister.
I'll get it!
Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was. Huh? You shifted in your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked to the door by the time you managed to see past Shiloh's flappy hat.
How are you?
What are you doing here, honey? Being patient and waiting to find out the reason for Cove's visit was difficult. You briefly considered leaving your chair, but when you looked up, there was a small smile on Cove's face directed at you. If you try to get down with him watching, you'd trip for sure or do something else embarrassing, so you decided to just stay put and smile back. Then, for a few seconds, Cove said nothing, like he only stood there and looked up at your mommy, with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off, 'cause I guess he borrowed it from you? Cove took a familiar screwdriver out from his large side pocket, eyes now dropping to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved.
Great. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Here, why don't you come inside for a bit? Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Cove shrugged, and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give your dad a call to let him know you're here all right. Cove shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind him.
Hi. Hi, Cove.
Shiloh gave Cove a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Cove nodded in response.
You could come outside with us if you want to.
From the corner of your eye, you can see Lizzie glaring at you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider. Trying not to meet her gaze, you looked at Cove. Whatever Lizzie thought of him, he wasn't exactly a stranger anymore.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I've never caught one before. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been anywhere he used to live.
We can't go until after dinner.
After she points this out, Lizzie walked up to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this was very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Cove stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for your family's meal. Have you eaten yet?
Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have?
Eggs. The clipped one-word answers seemed to discourage Shiloh from asking any more questions. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Cove's dad must have ended as Mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Cove, your dad said you can stay for a little while if you'd like, but he's going to come and get you before it gets too much later. Sure.
Fun.
Oh, fun! This is going to be so nice. As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would. Oh my fucking god! I can read. I can read. Jesus, this recording is going to be so fucking last minute. As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far.
It's fine, Mom.
Shiloh trailed so closely after Lizzie, he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. You smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
Bye, children. The moment... Oh, fuck. Pause. Rewind. Play. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Shiloh. By the time you walked outside, you pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get farther and farther away.
Hurry up! You're so slow, Blake. We don't have all night.
You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Cove still walking at a relaxed pace. Are you gonna come? You took him along. Walk with him. You waved at him to hurry. I took him along. It was a little scary to do this, but you didn't want him to get left behind. We reached out for the arm that wasn't in a cast, and you took a hold of his wrist and started to pull him along. Cove twisted his arm a bit before settling down. You smiled watching Cove return in with a shy one of his own. Then the both of you followed after Lizzie and Shiloh. When you arrived at the hill, Lizzie was already standing on the top. The fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out, creating almost a magical effect. You looked at Cove, and he seemed just as entranced by the beautiful sight. You and Cove stood at the start Wait. Fuck. Pause. Rewind. Play. You and Cove stood at the start, linked together. It was almost like holding hands, but not quite. It was too bad somehow. It was a bit too bad somehow. Realizing there wasn't actually any need to continue gripping his arm anymore, you released it.
Wow.
Oh, I fucking love this melody. It's such a good, like, background, like... I love this melody. Shiloh took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill.
Hi guys! It's really great out, huh? See how many there are. See how many there are? Yeah.
A firefly danced through the air, landing on Cove's sea green head. Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. You quietly looked on. You shooed the bug away. You and Shiloh couldn't help but giggle. Covering your mouth with a hand, the sound escaped you, and Cove looked at you in confusion. What? You gestured to his head, and he reached out, making the firefly dart away. Cove jumped, then followed after the glow.
Oh,
Oh, look! Lizzie has one! That's amazing!
Shiloh ran off to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered. Shifting your gaze to the dozen of fireflies sailing around, the game was on. Okay. You had a bandage on your thumb and you tried to be cautious of that. Bandage on your palm. You had 2 bandages on your hand and you tried to be cautious of that. You were good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't too worried about that. Bandage on your thumb. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in front of the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on your palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Cove watched as it vanished into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. Encouraged him to try again. You walked up beside him and gave him an encouraging smile. Did you catch one? You nodded, and Cove gave up his hunt for the moment, coming closer and peering at the insect still crawling across your palm. You held out your hand, and he leaned closer, eyes winding a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his finger lightly on top the ones you were holding open. It tingled. You stayed very still. You were so nervous you thought you stopped breathing. But no matter what, you didn't want to scare the shiny treasure. The firefly, noticing the connection, crawled on top of Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked! Yeah, you got one! Cove's lips turned up into a slow smile, and his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Blake. Your eyes and his locked together while still holding hands. He suddenly pulled away. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before you could even blink. Your firefly was gone.
sorry.
You forgave him.
It's okay. I couldn't keep it forever.
You're right.
Right. Bugs have to stay outside. Let's get another. You decide to collect more. Uh-huh. We can work together. His face broke out into a wide grin. We'll get a bunch. With renewed vigor, you ran out into the hill. You're not sure how much time passed while you were in the thick of it. All you could focus on was the adventure at hand. No critter was safe from your grasp. At first you tried to keep a tally of how many you had caught, but once the number grew higher than 10, you had no more fingers left to count with. You were having the time of your life, racing up and down the hill, with the crash of the ocean and the sound of everyone's laughter echoing in the background. Blake, this way! You followed the sound of Cove's voice to the top of the hill, watching as he stretched his arms out in front of him. Reaching with his fingers and only narrowly missing his target. I can fucking read. Cove and you took turns trying to scare fireflies in the direction of the other. You showed him some techniques you had learned, like how to cup your hands correctly, and he listened attentively before trying for himself. There were a few times when you almost ran into each other, giggling as you dove into the side at the last moment. Luckily, disaster was avoided each time. It was an overall huge success with the both of you catching multiple fireflies each. Eventually, the fireflies began to thin out and your energy started to lapse. You decided it was time to call off the hunt. Cove didn't complain. He breathed in heavily and his face seemed really flushed. That was fun. A lot of fun. You smiled at him broadly, happy that he enjoyed the activity. Yeah, it was.
Come on!
Blake, Cove, get up here. We're gonna have a race. The shout caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Shiloh. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill again, Lizzie beckoning you with a quick hand gesture. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued just by the idea of a race. Hi.
Cove!
Hi, Cove. You can't... Oh, fuck. You can't roll down the hill. You could hurt your arm again. You'll be the referee for the rest of us. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh. It was that kind of race. He frowned down at his cast. That was the second time it got in the way tonight. What? Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important. Got it?
I guess.
The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee. But it was already decided. I'll stay with Cove.
Really?
Really? Why? You don't have to. It's okay. I want to watch. You moved beside him on top of the hill, then on top of the hill, even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. You only need one referee. Shrugging your shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine. I'll be the winner whether you join or not. Lizzie moved to lay down. Shiloh did the same. Cove stood slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood next to him. Count down.
Cove stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously.
3, 2, 1, go!
Lizzie and Shiloh took off, letting gravity do the work, rolling at high speed towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck. About halfway down the hill, Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Shiloh a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Shiloh reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly, threw his hands in the air.
I won!
Almost immediately, he fell back onto the grass, but still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lizzie stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, spluttering angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress.
Not bad. You got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real.
Kids, it's time to come in.
Ugh.
No!
You snickered, feeling grateful you hadn't been a part of the mini debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw that he was doing the same. It had gotten late and it was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills. But the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together, side by side, down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening, which, with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Okay, I need to take a break for the sake of my voice. 1 hour and 46 minutes. Okay. We're gonna pretend like I didn't just fucking wake up. I didn't! It's not 30 minutes until I should actually be posting this. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh god. I think we're just gonna do like that step 1 per video of this, because I can't handle more than that. Long day, shopping, sandcastle. Let's go shopping. Okay. Come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair off his face before the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you when you'd first met Mr. Holden. Although he's probably not paying Cole to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and then his dad. In turn, Cove shuffled his feet in place as you got closer. Hi, Blake.
Hi.
Blake, hi.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Blake? I can fucking read. I can read! Nothing? Okay, that was probably more closer to a voice crack than I would have liked.
Nothing?
I can't do a child's voice. I can't. You told You toed the pavement in front of you. It would be nice to tell them about the snail you found, but you didn't know if they liked snails. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. It does? You weren't sure about that. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can come. You immediately grinned at the idea. You hadn't been sure if you'd see Cove today. And now he was inviting you somewhere. I can read! Fuck. I need to, like, slow the fuck down. This day couldn't get any better. Great. I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your moms only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend, too. Sir.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. To be fair, honestly, the fact that the MC doesn't, like, know his fucking, or, like, use his name, because his name is Cliff, right? But the thing is, as a kid, I didn't even bother to learn my friends' parents' names. I'm not even gonna fucking lie to you. I'm not. So this is kind of accurate. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibility this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide, creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day, the sun was shining, and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyebrow... Oh, fuck. I can't fucking read! Shit! His eyes searched the ground intently. You looking for snails? You looking for shells? What is it? What is it? Nothing. He kept staring down at the ground, though. You bit down on your lip a little, wanting to say something else, but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times. And although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. What do you want to get from the shops? What do you want to go to the shops for? I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Whoa.
It disappeared. What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, lacing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like he was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well... Cove opened his mouth and shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope. It wasn't at the beach. It wasn't at the beach when I went back. Bruh! Then you lost it! You fucking lost it, you little dum-dum. It disappeared. I saw a 4. You're not gonna get that fucking reference because that is between me and my best friend. I saw a 4. It disappeared.
So...
What about you? What do you do out here? I don't come to the beach a lot. I like swimming. I like looking at fish. Sandcastles, nothing. I like swimming! Cove's lips curled up into a small smile. Me too. It occurred to you that you hadn't been swimming in a while. There was just so much to do before school started up again, and so little time. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day. The call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air and walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It was nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other, with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables, with large, colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. Huh? You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander! In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read "The Amazing Alexander" in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on the side? That's fucking autistic as shit to say, I'm sorry. Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. You bit your lip, reluctantly starting to follow after Cove again. As you continued looking over your shoulder, however, wanting to see as much as you could before you got too far away. Hey. Not watching where you were going proved a bad idea, as you bumped right into Cove.
Oh, sorry.
Did you want to stay or something?
If that's okay.
He briefly lifted his arm up off his side before returning them to place. You could have said so. With that, it began. The magic... I like your funny words, Magic Man! The Magic Man pulled... What? Oh, fuck. Nope. Out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his finger and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing. It was true, you did You didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt the tug, then he pulled out the 4 of diamonds from behind your ear. What? You knew it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he had done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both of them were shaped. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. This is for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. Cove is just ruining the fun. At least he had a fun time. You wonder if Cove's whole family was magic? Yeah. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. Picked up a Rubik's Cube, Magic 8 Ball. Pick up a kaleidoscope. Shapes and colors.
Oh.
You shifted your balloon string to your other hand so you could bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared right in front of you, spinning into all kinds of shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cole picked one up and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rack, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning. Oh, fuck, I have not seen that word before. Okay. Careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. Did you have places like this in your old town? Cole blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over the stalls nearby. Oh my god, they have sharks! While Cole looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table of colorful keychains laid out on it. I can read. They were sewn in the shapes of sea creatures, and there were a plaque that read "Handmade" standing proudly in front. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, and a turtle. You picked up the shark. Your hand stopped on the shark, a devious smirk filled with sharp teeth on its face. You weren't supposed to go near sharks in real life, but there was something about this shark you liked. And the fabric on it was soft when you picked it up. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6! You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad, you still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave to you hidden away in your room. It was a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your mom to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh. It's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine. You don't have to. Cove didn't mind that. He took the keychain from your hands, and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. It's cool. You should get it. You were a little nervous, but happy with your purchase nonetheless. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out from the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove? Yeah? Does your dad always give you money like that? Thanks for getting me it. You're welcome. You hoped you really knew how much you appreciated it. What? You were going to thank him for the keychain again, but instead you just shook your head smiling. Cove returned the smile with a shy one of his own. Cove looked further down the street. There were different food carts lined up. He rested his non-cast arm on his stomach. And just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. I have never had a pretzel in my life, I don't think. At least not that I can remember. Maybe when I was a kid, and I don't actually fucking remember it, but I don't think so. I don't think so. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you? Plain one, why the fuck would you get one with sprinkles? I don't get it. Got one with chocolate. You licked your lips hungrily at as the vendor handed you your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had tiny marshmallows on it and was dripping with chocolate just how you liked it. Your moms didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noise when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cole placed his bucket on the table as he as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. See, okay. We have carnivals in Sweden, right? And I remember as a kid, every single time I got like a fucking helium balloon, either it had this metal piece that kept it from floating back up attached to the end of it, either that or it had a loop. So you could still have your like hand free and you could put it on your wrists or just simply around your fingers under your thumb. Which honestly made it really fucking easy to like navigate and shit. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his— oh, wait, I fucking read that. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know! After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it couldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out from Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist. See? This is a fucking easy-ass solution. Oh. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your non. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Could you help me too? I can't tie it to my own wrist. He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with his cast, restricting his fingers, on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. But the action made you feel strangely happy. You couldn't look him in the eyes.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spend a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time, you finished your pretzels. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he still had left the remaining parts of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. He's the Prince of Dolphins, starring movies. Actually an alien, they're just regular dolphins. Merryweather, the Prince of Dolphins. To be honest, that's probably something I would say as a kid.
He wears a crown made of seaweed, and all of his friends are merfolk. Every now and then, he'll make friends with a kid and let them ride on his back.
You sighed, wishing you could meet a real dolphin like Merryweather.
What's yours?
Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes as you saw tears start to glisten. Like, it... offered to find Alexander? No, I mean, as a kid I probably would've, but that's not... No. Honestly, in true rarity fashion, I would probably offer to give him my balloon. I've probably done that with my cousins when I was younger, actually. Or, like, something similar. Don't cry. You quickly pulled the knot from your wrist loose and passed your balloon over to Cove. It wasn't the same color, but you hoped Cove would accept it anyways. Here, you can have this one. Cove sniffed, a lone tear running down his cheek. No, I don't want to take yours from you.
Then we're sharing. It's your turn to hold it.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay.
Cove accepted the balloon delicately, probably to make sure this one didn't pop like the other. Thanks, Blake. Seeing him like that felt much better than keeping the dolphin for yourself. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been great going around with Cove, and you hoped to do it again. But next time, you wish nothing would happen to make him cry. Honestly, in true generosity and kindness, I would have given him the fucking balloon. I've done something similar with my cousin. I believe we found like this tiny skull on the beach once. And my grandparents, when we were leaving to go home, they were like, "Oh yeah, whose is this?" I was like, "It's hers, she can have it." Like, sure, I really did want it for myself, but I didn't want any fucking arguing of the sort, so I was like, she can have it. It's fine. Like, sure, it was really cool. I still wonder what the fuck that was, though. I really do. But at the same time, it was nice to see her smile. It was. If My Little Pony has taught me anything, kindness and generosity, I put first above everything else. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished one cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked at you for all the answers. It made you feel frustrated. Yeah, that would kind of piss me off eventually. He was always wanting to hear what you thought instead of giving his own opinion and expected you to come up with the plans. It was hard work, especially for such a hot day. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy cold and refreshing. Something sweet, like ice cream sandwich. I fucking love ice cream sandwich. The thing is, holy shit, the price of like ice cream is absolutely ridiculous nowadays. It's gone from like 5 Swedish crowns to like 20. It's ridiculous. You craved a soft ice cream sandwich between 2 cookies. There was nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your moms didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodiness could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. Voice your predicament out loud. I want an ice cream sandwich. Shiloh, who was draped over the sofa, perked up.
Yeah.
That sounds good. We don't have anything like that in the house, and I don't have any money.
Oh, let me check if I have any.
Shiloh rummaged through his backpack and proudly produced an assortment of coins plus one stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1, you announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. It's not enough.
Sorry.
Oh my god. You don't need to fucking apologize for that.
Well, we'll need to find some more. Okay.
The two of you lifted the couch cushions, tiny hands now deep hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless or gross: bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs. But every so often, one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked in your room. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more. But you didn't take it out. It was too special to hand over so freely. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret. Dusty and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook. The two of you finished pulling your finds. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out.
Is that enough?
You figured he knew the answer without looking for your confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any feelings you might have about that. Yeah. Is it though? I don't know if it is. I mean, $2 is like 20 bucks. Or not 20 bucks, but like 20 Swedish crowns. Hold on, I'm getting a fucking text message. What the hell is this? Oh. Arriving Thursday. Oh great, my Amazon package is coming Thursday. Not that long, but still. I want to make CDs! I'm having so much fun making CDs. It's so fun. You can now afford something at the shops. Just one thing, but that was infinitely better. But just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Oh, I fucking read that wrong. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! The two of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you out on your destination. On to your destination, where breathless but happy, you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who contributed to the funds to the great treat. You seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream sandwich? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. Are you sure it's okay? Yeah. Really? Really? Pleased you bought the dessert you longed for. Sweet success. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You bit the ice cream sandwich. The chewy chocolate biscuit complemented the creamy vanilla ice cream inside. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head.
You can finish it.
No, bro. He looks so pleased. He's so adorable, but at the same time, you sweet little fucking idiot. I blame Lizzie for that. He didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. You tried to include Shiloh. Even after... I do want to say Shiloh instead of Shiloh. Fuck. If Shiloh said that was okay, every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book said that sharing was caring. Exactly! C'était l'homme. You stood your ground, even as the treat started to trickle dangerously towards your fingers. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you want it more than I do, and after getting to play it was a lot of fun already. So you can have it. That's more fair. You held it out to him. I want you to have some even more than I want to finish it. So eat your part. Relenting, Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. It's really good, thank you. You smiled, pleased with your good deed. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shiloh was nice no matter what happened, even if you hated it. You knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross, and that's the real reason why he didn't want some? You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still, weird. The two of you began to head back home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt or was too afraid to. You figured that was his problem and didn't care. Are you scared of me? Are we friends? Are you scared of me? Shiloh opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question.
No way! But you didn't tell me things like what you wanted to do or what treat we should get. It's not because I'm scared, it's because you have better ideas than I do.
Oh, I don't think that's... I don't think that's good for a child to think that he doesn't have any good ideas. Lizzie, you fucking broken the boy. Lizzie! Unfortunately, this was yet another thing you couldn't entirely believe Shiloh on. You hoped it was true and that he really did feel okay around you, though. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with just him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You were positive one thing at least. The treat was delicious and that was nice. The sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw tears on Cove's face. You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you carefully asked what happened. I wouldn't just assume it was Lizzie's fault, I really wouldn't. Because again, he could be crying about something entirely separate. Without a time machine, the only way you were going to find out was by asking the witness. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or even come to Cove's aid. You wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? Like, I got yelled at. He took a deep, steadying breath. Some grandparents got mad at me. Aw, sorry. Lizzie jerked her head in the direction of the nearby house. Your heart sunk. You knew exactly what happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out the condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. It didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction.
Uh-huh. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything I could do?
No.
No, I just want to stay away. I just gotta stay away. Oh, fuck. I can read.
Or you can teach them a lesson.
There was a devilish glint in her eyes. What?
You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great, because they're so slow. They'll never catch you.
That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
You're just saying that because you're a chicken.
Oh my god. Lizzie! Cove glared, but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you.
You're not a chicken, are you?
You thought they deserved worse. But I don't want to do it. That's the thing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. You'd rather just avoid that. You looked at the house. Behind those closed doors looked two beings, rich in years but poor in patience. Maybe they deserved retaliation, maybe they didn't, but that punishment wouldn't be coming from you. It was safer to stay away from them, and you didn't want to give them the opportunity to make Cove sad again.
I am not doing it either. Another chicken for the coop. This is a hen house now.
If we're chickens, you're a lizard, Lizzie. Oh, Jesus. She wagged her tongue at his face.
Still better than being a bird brain. Chicken.
The condo door opened, revealing one of the two culprits. The old man's wizened face was set in a scowl, which was to say he looked exactly like he always did when you saw him. Maybe that was his normal face? What are you kids doing loitering around outside my house? Or maybe he was just in a terrible mood. Nothing. Nothing. He repeated the word as if it was the greatest crime anyone could commit. Nothing good. Nothing good. More like get lost. It wasn't as if he owned the space outside this house, but Cove's eyes, still red from his earlier tears, were wide, and you thought it would be best to heed the old man's command. Lizzie took off, with Shiloh immediately trailing after her without so much as a glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice the stitch in your chest and the ache in your legs. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath, and enjoying the feeling of the cool grass against your skin. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eyes and decided this wasn't dismissive enough, and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting with Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. You felt a little bit sad. It was always annoying. It was always annoying. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. But you weren't going to make a fuss, especially after everything that's already happened. There were other things to attend to anyway. You've wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part, and was inspecting a flower with his fingers pinched the stem and tilted the wide petals towards him. That's a poppy. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back at the flower. And the types of poppies on this hill have the name white linen poppy. Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. Fuck. He ran his fingers around the edge of the petals. It doesn't feel like cloth. You need a lot of them to make anything. He nodded and released the delicate plant. Evaluation complete. This is my favorite kind of flower. But I didn't know what it was called. Thanks. Oh shit! Fuck. Mine too. I like roses, snapdragons, hibiscus peonies, sunflowers, tulips, orchids. I like all flowers, I don't really care. Lily of the valley. Bingo! A lily of the valley, huh? Neat. Thanks. Oh my god, look at him! He's so cute. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds remained... oh, fuck. Pause, rewind, play. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold, rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. they lazily floated on by, splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. Saw a car. You saw an alpaca. You saw a dolphin. You saw a dolphin leaping through the sky. You nudged Cove and pointed to it. Look! A dolphin! Cove joined in gazing skywards. Yeah, I see it. Really? No, but I like dolphins. Hey! He chuckled at your reaction. All the sun's light faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie caught to her feet, dusting strands of grass off her bare legs, and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean visible from the crest of the hill, beckoning with every sweep of the tide.
Let's go to the beach.
There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You want to go too tired to argue. You were happy to do what others wanted. Objective. But realistically, I would object, but also realistically, I'd want to go there too. So you're eagerly join the others in descending the hill down to the water. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day. Oh fuck. I'm not. But it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sandcastles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been hours earlier. The four of you kicked your shoes off and removed socks and walked along the water's edge. The waves tickled your feet.
I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything.
That would be bad for the fish.
Jeez.
I didn't say anyone would do it. Jeez. You don't have to be so you don't have to be serious about everything.
You're the one who asked what would happen.
That is what would happen. It hurt the fishes.
I like bubble baths at home.
They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious.
You never heard Lizzie use that word before.
Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy.
What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does.
Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about?
He's fucking autistic. Don't blame him. Jesus fucking Christ. The thing is, I remember when my cousin recommended me this game, and one of the selling points she was trying to get me to play it with was like, oh yeah, he's fucking autistic, and I'm like, oh my god, I love him. I fucking love him already. Like, he's adorable. He is. You kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by the waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward for having both of your moms.
It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Blake. I don't have a dad. I don't have two moms, I just have one. She's really great.
Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me.
Sorry.
Aw, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad.
It's really sad that your mom is gone.
Cove nodded. They make it seem like she's dead. I mean, again, they're children, so I get the wording, but at the same time, I'm like, hello. Close. Oh fuck! I would not joke about that. That's weird.
Even if they're all different, our parents are good in their own ways.
Cove couldn't muster a response. You don't think he truly agreed? You don't think he truly disagreed, though? The silence broke with a splash of Lizzie as Lizzie kicked her leg in your direction. Cold water, sodden sand splatter against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves with a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. You retaliated. You used your foot to smack the water pulling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. You laughed as she spluttered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yuck! Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game in war. Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet. It caused him falling face first into the ground. That would have been bad without the waves that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain, as you all hurried to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head and had soaked his clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was dry, you couldn't see it.
That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over.
You Dumbo.
Way to go, Shiloh, you Dumbo.
You offered to help him out. Shiloh didn't take your outstretched hand. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held out her hand to Shiloh too. He reached out and took it. Of course he did. Fucking hell. Am I getting sick? I'm starting to wonder. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if I got sick. He reached over and took it. Slowly, he started to pull himself from the ground. Then he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them.
Sorry.
What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low. Okay, I don't understand that sentence, but there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose, then pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as the cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside chatting to Cove's dad.
We're back.
Your mom's faces fell as they took in the state you were in, ranging from messy to soaked.
Now.
Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half the beach back with you. They certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for a long drive home? Cold and filthy? Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled and ruffled Cove's matted hair. You've been out making memories, bucko? I'm glad you had a good time with your friends. Cove used his slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and had just as much fun. That might be right, kids. What can you do? That might be right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Cove. Let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wouldn't want that cast to have to be reset. Cove winced at the thought.
Okay.
That a boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up from the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Oh shit.
Take care.
Bruh. Sand was already transferring the Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff. Night, Anderson family, and Shiloh too. Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arms in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you returned a tiny wave of your own.
Fine, fine.
Well, we'd better do what we can to fix you guys up. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom.
Ugh.
Yes, Mom.
Okay, Lizzie's mom.
Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight. Fuck, I feel another sneeze coming on. What is going on? Oh my god! Now that... I swear. Am I getting sick? I hope not. I have shit to do. Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall until you were less sandy. You weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrowed some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Mrs. Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit funny experiencing it. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath she had hoped for. This was a no fun allowed cleanup session, at least that's what she called. That's what she claimed. I can read. Not much longer, and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. Okay, last one. Sandcastle. I'm feeling we do, like, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I'm feeling we do like each step for its own video. So after this step, I'm gonna fucking turn this off. Technically, I should have posted like 30 minutes ago, but plans change. I might post tomorrow. Cole wasn't able to do many things that summer. When you, him, and Shiloh sat out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon, not with his cast. The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering and blue. Another reminder of the place he couldn't go. From what you heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. The possibilities of what he might get up to made you anxious. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now, he was here, with you and Shiloh and Lizzie and everyone else, and he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It was it had all your favorite things in it. But sitting there on the beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye quietly, and he finally said out aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in.
The water?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon.
Cove only sighed in response. Apparently soon wasn't soon enough.
It's so pretty, the ocean.
Mm-hmm. It's huge. There could be anything out there. Like mermaids.
Yeah.
I fucking wish there were mermaids! Mermaids aren't real. How dare you? I wish you didn't have a cast. It might be fun if we could. I'm fine here on land. No, I'm not fine. Shut up. Okay, Milo's texting me. Hello! I wish you didn't have a cast. Me too. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation, Cove turned back to the water. But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sandcastle?
Sort of. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening.
Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before.
It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'd be good at it right away.
Then how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Cove's expectant stare on him.
I'll play too.
I love making sand stuff.
Okay.
Then he puts his hands to his... Wait. Then he puts his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded.
I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started.
Shiloh focused more intently than you'd ever seen him. Guided Cove through his process, you happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have a humble structure prepared.
That's all, kind of. You can do anything now, like make it bigger, add some seashells, carve pretty patterns. I bet you have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine's gonna be a real castle.
Cool.
Cool! This is gonna be a house.
Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to make a house, a castle, a castle. I love me a castle! Looking at the base of your sandcastle, you decided to build a fancy castle. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else's as he usually did. You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. It seems you got a lot done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of shells, but there were still options. The first thing you searched for was red bottle caps, blue seashells, green pieces of sea glass! Hell yeah. What was the best fit for your castle, you decided? It was see-through and sparkly. So you tucked it away somewhere secure inside, barely... Oh, fuck. I clicked again. Barely poking out to make sure it didn't get lost. Pleased with your results, you finally decided to take a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed to super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either one's work. Check Cove's sandcastle. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge gaping moat in the front, but it was already enormous. You got the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink cast. The silence was then broken. What's on top of yours, Shiloh? You peeked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney.
Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looked like smoke.
Neat.
That's good. That's smart. You should be an architect. You'd be good at it, Shiloh.
Shiloh smiled without a word. And that was that for the current topic.
Like, can I say what you did?
Sure. He scooted a bit nearer and began surveying your work. The castle you'd built was pretty impressive, all things considered. It had an archway, tall walls, and even little moats circling it. You would probably feel safe living there. Maybe your moms were the queens. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation.
But, hey Blake, what did you do? I made a castle.
Shiloh didn't look so happy anymore.
You both built castles?
Yeah.
Why not?
Aw, that's neat. How you guys match. It's too bad we didn't all do it. Next time we should.
Wouldn't that be boring? If something is the only one of that thing, that makes it special.
Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff.
People too. My dad always says everybody is their own man, a real individual.
I don't think I'm very special.
Why?
Nobody else is like you. Shiloh simply shook his head.
I'm not different.
A beat passed between the two. Cole then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered, leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to. Cove trailed off again. There was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Blake? You blinked, not expecting the question. You thought hard.
I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad.
Oh, fuck, we let that slip. No! Girl! Don't say another word. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him. You knew him better at this, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued. Oh, well, I was there.
I don't think my mom has met your dad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Lake's parents and my dad met the same day I met her. I'm gonna say what happened. Shiloh frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell that he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. That was kind of boring for him, though giving other people their own turn to say something they want is important too. Oh, fuck. Yeah, stay silent to let Cove finish his story. Shiloh could talk about stuff after Cove had a chance to share what he fuck. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us, only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lip twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your mom's. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed when he waved his hand and he went to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said, I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went to the houses. I found those hills there. The ones where we met for the first time. Cove nodded and stared at you. You stared back. He didn't go on to say anything more.
Is that it?
Cove's brow wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
And that's all that happened? Okay.
What is it?
What? You said that in a weird way.
I did?
Cove narrowed his eyes at you suspiciously. Shiloh's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing.
Why'd you bring that up anyway?
There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders.
Well...
I was thinking about it because of the sandcastles. It made me remember when I moved here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cove's brow furrowed a little more, and he reluctantly raked his hand through the sand.
I get it.
You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't... Oh, fuck. Why do I gotta keep clicking? Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the... Wait. You thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Shiloh fidgeted uncomfortably in the sand. Had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other and you. Wait, they looked at each other and you could only wonder what this might be about.
Hey, Shiloh? Yeah?
Why are you always turning so red?
Even when nothing's happening.
Clearly startled, he jerked back up. Neither you or Shiloh had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again.
I don't know. I guess.
Okay, it's kind of weird. Shiloh's eyes were wide with embarrassment and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Maybe it wasn't only this, perhaps it was simply the last straw. But it was a big deal to Shiloh, a huge deal. He didn't look just sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon got an answer.
Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody's named Cove. It was probably just your dad bugging Blake's family some more because you don't have anyone else here who'll play with you.
Cove blinked! The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to even mention. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh.
I'm sorry.
Me too. I was just wondering.
Hey, let's build another sandcastle. The day is gonna be over soon. Ah, Blake, you're right. The sun is going down so fast.
You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable for the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least you tried to do something to resolve it, though it seemed like at least you tried to do something to resolve it, though it seemed that it helped. It didn't? I don't fucking know. I don't know what that says. I feel like I'm having a stroke and a half. Even though Shiloh smiled... Oh, fuck. Even though Shiloh smiled when he said goodbye to Cove... Even though Shiloh smiled when he said goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something, but still, with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. You followed him as he made his way out of the sand. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in near perfect unison. Cove was already caught up thinking about something. You asked Cove what he's thinking. The prospect of asking made you nervous, but you did it anyway. Hey, is everything, okay?
Oh.
I was just wondering. Cove felt silent again for a few more seconds, then he sighed. Why'd Shiloh act like that? When I said it, he was all red a lot. You were being rude. He's just being a baby. You should make fun of him. I don't know, it's just Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. Oh shit. I just want to check so I don't fucking miss anything. He gets embarrassed. Embarrassed? But I didn't say anything that bad.
It might have upset him anyway?
I guess I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour. Hey, Blake, was Shiloh telling the truth? Huh? His gaze left yours as he dug the sole of his shoe into the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. An uncomfortable weight settled in your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Cove. You didn't even have to think about it. You just knew you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Cove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Your dad does do stuff, so you'll hang out with my family, but Shiloh shouldn't have said that. Said, tell him I was dead off for you. Hell nah! Nobody's making me spend time with you. Cove's shoulders relaxed. You hadn't even noticed that he had tensed up. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Anyway, I didn't think you were pretending. I just wanted to make sure it was okay, so.
Thanks.
Thanks for telling me. Your throat tightened. It was hard to meet Cove's earnest gaze again. Keeping secrets was hard. Yeah. By the time the two of you were on the sidewalk near your houses, it was time to part ways. Hug him goodbye! You stepped forward and wrapped your arms around him tightly. You turned your head, resting your cheek against his shoulder. Cove stood there awkwardly with his hands at his sides. He wasn't able to return the hug, but you didn't get the impression he was unhappy about it. You were pretty sure it was the opposite. Bye, Cove. See you tomorrow. Yeah. Bye, Blake. You pulled away, then jogged towards your house. When you looked back, you saw Cove making his way back home too. As if he felt your eyes on him, he turned around. He waved. You did too. You still felt a little unsure with what you were supposed to do about the deal Cove's dad had offered. You didn't want to say something bad or something you shouldn't. You had no idea how Cove would feel. Oh, fuck. I'm getting ahead of myself. You had no idea how Cove would take it either. It would be terrible if it made him feel bad. What if he didn't want to play with you anymore? You might change your mind sometime. There was always tomorrow after all, but for now, it was definitely something that you'd keep to yourself. With a final look, you went inside your house. Yay! Okay, before we end summer, I just need... Where the fuck is my chapstick? Oh my god. There we go. Okay. Okay, we're good. Shut your mouth. Okay. And then summer ended. Are you sure? Yes. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie and Cove, as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You'd like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Never did I. Oh no, we're so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom. How'd you figure that out?
Duh.
'Cause I know that's not how real magic looks like.
Oh, Lizzie dear. There's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. You looked at Cove, who hadn't said a word since you started home. He didn't look upset though, just content. You're aware he still hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan.
Ugh.
Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see the school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. It is almost over. Please, can we play just a little longer? Mom looked down at you with a sigh, and you clasped your hands together to give a plea some extra appeal. We'll have with dinner tomorrow. You immediately nodded in agreement with the very clever offer, shifting closer to Lizzie since your parents can't possibly resist the power you two combine.
Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work.
Oh, fuck.
We can't do work now, too.
Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. Well... Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew you were very close to victory.
Okay.
But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside, understood?
Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom.
Come on, dear. You're welcome to join us as well. You sent him a small smile, which he returned. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement.
So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Tines and Trinkets, or maybe the playground, or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right? I don't guess this. We can't go far. We can't go far. Lizzie pouted as you pointed this out. Mom said to be back in time for dinner. Oh, fuck. Pause, rewind, play. Mom said to be back in time for dinner. It won't take that long.
No!
I know, Blake.
A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Rude.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet?
That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning her heels and heading off in the direction your mothers had gone.
Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots of plans if I want to make the most of tomorrow. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow.
You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long, she was disappearing off down the road. Are you coming home too, Blake? Cove was leaning towards the beach, and you could tell he wanted to stay out a bit longer. Stay with Cove. Cove gave you a smile that you couldn't help but return.
Cool.
He made a little gesture that you interpreted as "follow me," and then started heading down to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reared his arm back and tossed it out into the water. It was a good toss. It wasn't a long throw, but he didn't care. Sorry for that. The rock sunk kind of like a rock fell. You were impressed over how far he got it to go. It sailed way out into the sea. Look for your own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched neatly for any rocks or shells that you could throw too. You found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When you looked over at Cove, he didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratchingly idly at the pink surface, even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed, and there was a frown on his face.
It's not fair.
Fuck.
It's,
Okay.
it's not fair.
I've had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. When do you get it off? Cove shrugged and didn't say anything. For a few seconds you thought he didn't know, but finally he sighed. A few weeks. That's not very long at all. That wasn't too bad, you thought. Then at least he'd be able to play normally at recess. And you sometimes got to go for swimming during the school year, or maybe he could make up for lost time then. Cove let out a huff, plopping down into the sand. Can't believe summer's almost over. You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't know. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that.
That's great. We can sit together during lunch.
You'd only ever been to one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. Then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It would be kinda scary. Cove shook his head, then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
My baby! Ah! The sudden sadness caught you off guard. You were excited that Cove would be going to your school. It made you feel bad when he was so upset about it.
Well, I can walk back with you.
Cove shook his head at the offer. No, I want to go back home. Right, Cove wanted to go back to his old home. The one that sat waiting someplace far from here. The one he would bring up whenever you felt the sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. You settled back down into the sand, trying to consider what to do.
This can be your home.
It's a really nice home if you give it a chance. Cove didn't respond to that. He just tightened his arms around his knees, resting his chin on them.
You're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around?
The question was The question was a little surprising.
Of course.
Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? After a second, Cole gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. You were fine with him changing the subject again.
Okay.
You had to say swimming did sound fun, even if it was already getting chilly out. Cole smiled, then looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually. That I'd feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. You spared a glance over to Cove and saw the anger had slipped off his face into a fever of something almost puzzled. That maybe that would be okay after all, as long as I do really feel better. I can't see it. You can remember a long time ago when you first started going to school. You had absolutely not been okay with the idea of being far from your parents for most of the day. To listen to strangers tell you what to do and sit with kids you'd never met before. Things changing is hard. Hold his hand. You're not quite sure what to say to that, so instead you reached out to take hold of Cove's hand. The one closest to you is one with a cast, so you made sure you were very gentle. As you watched, Cove's eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling that they were different tears from the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and co-explore everything. And, oh, fuck. Pause. Rewind. Play. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You gave a little nod. You gave a little nod, resting your head on your own knees. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept his place in his new home. You definitely try to help in what ways you could. There was so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint similar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. You were reluctant to move, having enjoyed sitting together. But you were hungry. You stood and dusted off the sand off yourself. My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you, expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately... Okay. When you smiled, Cove returned one of his own. Thanks, Blake.
Thanks.
It was nice. It was nice. Or where you were right then. But the two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. In between. Okay. I'm trying to fucking remember how the steps went. Let's just keep it as it is. Yeah. I think we can be more relaxed. Beginning step 2 as relaxed. Okay. Okay, I think we can save here and then we're fine. Yeah. Menu. Okay! I'm not tired. I'm not. Hopefully I will get this posted tomorrow. My sleeping schedule is just a little bit of a mess at the moment because obviously it's fucking summer. Which is ironic that I'm playing this now. Anyway. So yeah. Hopefully I can keep my schedule eventually. But we'll see where life takes me, I guess. I just want to do whatever I want to do. I don't remember what's next on my schedule, if I'm gonna be honest. But hopefully it'll be one of... It's mostly visual novels at the moment because IDV is being a bitch with the whole AI thing. So fuck that shit, first of all. Second of all, I do not have space on my laptop for any Zenless or Honkai, I don't think. So I mostly play on my phone. But yeah, I need to go eat breakfast because I haven't done that yet. I'll be seeing you guys around, or I'll see you guys next week. Bye!